Hello and welcome to another Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever replay review. We are taking a look at another Hascins replay. You know him from the Gap replay review. He's the ladder player who's just getting into team games and would like to have advice on how to play team games better. So very exciting situation. Most of the time it's team players who try to get good at ladder, but having it the other way around is very refreshing. He made some short walk of shame, but this was actually planned because of the double adjacency this is going to allow him. You cannot place your land factory here if you want to go for a double adjacency, because there's this tree in the way. Yes, you would have to reclaim it and walk. So this is actually a good factory position. Looks like a standard Hydro Rush. ACU is going to assist the Hydro. So Hascins is 1400 rank now, and again playing Cybran. Let's take a look at his team. We have Zhykich here, also playing Cybran, getting a little creative on the Hydro Rush, not building the 4th mass extractor for no particular reason, I suppose. So Zhykich, add this one next time, you're not going to power stall. And here we have 200 ranked TimVol. He's the only UEF player in this game. And it looks like the others are all Cybrans. So we have a DoubleEdge here. He just completed his standard Hydro Rush. And now unfortunately he has some idling engineers and lots of expansion opportunities. Also some reclaim to get. So that's of course a mistake. But I suppose it's okay. Just work on that next time. Here we have Argon, 1100 rank, also going for Cybran. He is just completed his 1 power generator Hydro opening. So you can economize on this power generator and it's not going to stall. It's going to be completely fine since the Hydro is so close. But Hydro Rush is the right idea, of course. And here we have Prezzy. He's also 800 rank, just like him, and also playing Cybran. So Hascins is probably going to carry the team, or he's going to lose, because most of the rating is concentrated on Hascins in this team, and most of the time team games are not decided by good players who win it, but rather by bad players who lose it. And getting some carrying capacity for bad teammates is actually an important skill to develop as a team player. So let's see how Hascins is going to perform. In terms of a power generator count, he's going a little bit overboard. That's a bit too many. You can see how his power is full and overflowing. So maybe build less power generators. I suppose you know the build orders, just try to follow them. And here we have the reason why I made those piano videos. I see a 1400 ranked ladder player carry the piano. You don't want to carry the piano, Hascins. I suppose I don't have to repeat. Just use the mass extractor's own build power, and these engineers could be reclaiming, thus repaying their own cost and helping this mass extractor upgrade much more. See how much you're stalling your economy because of that. So that can be improved a lot. In terms of unit compositions, this air factory was the second factory Hascins made, and since it was relatively early and second air is most of the time a rush timing for T1 air in team games, you can open with a bomber. Like, you would only open with a fighter or a scout if you expect your opponent to also go second air. But I don't think your opponent's air factory was finished as fast, because we see a T2 mass extractor upgrade here, and that was probably completed before the air factory. So you can be more aggressive with air, and spamming interceptors is maybe more of a ladder thing. It's easier to recover from lost T1 and T2 air control in a team game than in a ladder game, because there's less ground to cover and protect. Oh, this bomber, that hurt. On the other hand, the engineers were idling, so maybe it did not hurt so much. Another pass. Well, this was of course a mistake from DoubleEdge here. I should have tried to ground fire in between those engineers and hopefully kill all 4. So Seraphim Bomber could have killed all 4 for sure. Not sure how the Siren Bomb spread, not playing the faction enough. But hitting the power generators was not ideal, since Hascins overbuilt power and those engineers were a better target. But interestingly, Hascins actually losing air control. Looks like DoubleEdge is prioritizing it. Let's see. Yeah, he's assisting his air factory with 2 engineers. Maybe these 2 have been assisting too. Now they're idling. I don't know. And taking a look at the big picture, I suppose we have a time-based production lead for the top team. You can see how the bottom team has not made many TimVol NAND factories early, but that's different for the top team. The only player who has a lot of TimVol NAND factories on the bottom team is Red, but they all paused. And this is a nightmare. There's just no other word for it. Look at those 5 T1 point defenses. I mean, I get it. This mass extractor is in the corner, and there's this radar. I want to keep them safe. This radar that is 40% off map, and this mass extractor that's on T1. I mean, it doesn't matter if you lose your base. As long as you have this radar, you can see everything, and as long as you have these point defenses, you're going to be safe. Yeah, so I don't know what is going on in the heads of these people who build like point defenses in the corner, but you see that a lot. So in the low rating ranges, that's a common thing. You need to do some sort of like cost-benefit calculation, and these point defenses are just a million times more expensive than what they are protecting. So please don't do this anymore. Now back to Hascins. We see some gestures. These are used to fight against these land units. So dual air setup actually working out for Hascins. He has enough interceptors to retain air control, and he can use the gestures to shoot at the land units. Of course, this is going to be over as soon as DoubleEdge is adding some T1 or T2 mobile AA. Both very strong. T1 AA due to the buff, and the T2 AA of course because of the area damage against the gestures, which are pretty much made of paper when they're shot by T2 flak. So Hascins are carrying the piano again, or rather still. So just to clarify this, you can do this sort of stuff when you have Eco Manager and you have this like simple upgrade improvement setting that, you know, automatically pauses all mass destructor upgrades that are assisted, and as soon as the engineers arrive, they automatically unpause. That's what I'm using, but some people like to use like a Supreme Scoreboard, and then Eco Manager is going to clash if you combine it with some other UI mods. Like, I don't really know which clash it is, but I think the combination of Selection Deprioritizer, UI Party, and Eco Manager is not compatible with a Supreme Scoreboard. So you may have to decide what you want to do. But in any case, get rid of this terrible habit of pausing your mass extractors and assisting them with engineers instead of using their own loop power. There's still so many trees left, and also some wreckages these engineers could be reclaiming instead. So don't use them this redundant way. And again, it doesn't matter if you get rid of this bad habit by getting Eco Manager, or whether you just change your muscle memory when doing these upgrades, but one of the two is going to be necessary to perform well in the team game. Now, Hascins has asked me how to get T3 air fast, and I suppose that's what he's trying to do. We have a factory that is upgrading to T2 air, and we have this power grid and that's perhaps going to be used to get this T3 air upgrade and make a T3 power generator. From that he can like make T3 fighters, or he can simply finish these 3 power generators and then upgrade RAS instead of the T3 power generator. That's also going to work. So the power generator version of the air build is going to be faster, and the RAS version of the air build is going to be a little bit better in terms of mass, but a little slower. But what's actually important, Hascins, is that you need to, like, you cannot diversify your setup that much. You need to focus on T3 air if you want to rush it. Because as you can see, you have a T2 land factory, and that's currently idling, and you also have a T2 air factory. And since you already have this T2 engineer making power generators, and you also have TMD, you don't really need any more T2 stuff. So you could self-destruct the land factory, or just not build it in the first place. And you could perhaps even self-destruct the T2 air factory to get the power generators faster and a little more mass upgrades. And you can still rebuild that air factory later, as soon as you can afford T3 air. So we see a snipe attempt on DoubleEdge, but that's going to fail. Top team has too many fighters for that, and bottom team does not have enough jesters. Also some mismanagement of interceptors. But we do see some Corsairs for the top team. So maybe there are going to be more. Not yet, it seems, but perhaps later. So when rushing T3 air, again, focus your setup around it. And I saw you made T2 land and T2 air in this gap game too. There is some beetle snipe attempt, it seems. But honestly, I don't think you planned on doing beetle snipe from the start. This seems more like, I have this T2 land factory now, it's idling, why not make beetles and try? But that's not a good plan. Rather, don't build this T2 land factory and prioritize your T3 air, because these factory upgrades are redundant and expensive, and that's slowing you down so much. Now some point defense creep from DoubleEdge. The setup of DoubleEdge is a little more focused. He has been spamming land units until he got this map control. And now he's doing PD creep and T2 air. So he could be spending more of his mass. That's actually horrible mass overflow. You can upgrade all of these extractors. And it looks like a build powered bottleneck too. So I will probably just add some more air factories. This should build engineers. And with more engineers I can start capping my extractors, build more factories, unlock higher tech, get T2 power, stuff like that. But DoubleEdge is in a situation that's a lot better than Hascins. So Hascins now are trying to Corsair snipe DoubleEdge. Let's check out the wreckages. I believe there has been a beetle snipe attempt already. This is a beetle wreckage. Looks like it failed. Dropped in front of the PD and the units. So that of course didn't work. There's one more beetle left, but that's not going to do anything. DoubleEdge dancing around those Corsairs. And the T2 flak is taking care of them. So as long as he dodges them, oh, this is going to be very close. Well, all it takes now is one more Corsair, and he dies. But it has to hit. Oh, that's nice. Alright, I did not expect it to go this way. Perhaps DoubleEdge did not really try to counter it as well as he could. His team didn't supply the interceptors needed to stop those Corsairs earlier. And some scout stream would have been nice to identify them. But this is actually great for Hascins. Oh, he's on low HP too, due to enemy Corsairs and some point defense. Power generator grid died as well. And the enemy team knows. So we will see more snipes on Hascins. So what Hascins needs to do is build some T2 shield and start upgrading it immediately. He's making a lot of air to stop any Corsairs. He needs some sort of scout perimeter to identify incoming Corsairs, and apparently he is scouting, which is great. And Hascins should also try to get a T2 transport. You may want to look at the concept of snipe-enabled ecoing. So the idea is you kill your opponent, which you did, and then you drop a transport with engineers in the enemy base and reclaim everything your opponent had. And this is how you are effectively in a situation with 2 economies. Even if you cannot keep this base, you can at least upgrade your base to an extent so that it is going to integrate his economy into your economy. That makes you very difficult to stop in team games, and that's how you develop this carrying skill. So in most of the team games I play, when my team is bad and I still manage to win, it's because of snipe-enabled ecoing. Hascins power stalling and deciding that he needs some T2 power generator before building a shield. Actually, he's rebuilding the entire power grid before making the shield. I think that's going to be too late for the shield. Very risky play. Could get the Corsair snipe anytime now. Let's check out his setup. Zhykich does not have a forward radar. His radar is quite far behind and it's on T1. If this was here, it would be better, but you can imagine some Corsairs could go in through here and snipe Hascins over there. T1 radar for Hascins now, so he's preparing. That's good. But I still don't like this risky ACU position on low HP with no shield. Perhaps this T2 power generator was not even needed. Could have stopped the Corsair production and also the T1 air production. This fixes the power stall, and you can start with a shield and get the rest later. So there was a Corsair that was intercepted. There's another. If that connects, it's going to be like 800 HP, I suppose.
Commander under attack.
Yeah, quite close. Now the question is, are there any more? There's one more. And we have some drop here. Oh. Yeah, that's so risky, Hascins. Why are you doing this? By now you should have really realized that there are going to be more Corsairs. And the shield, it's not a shame to correct your Q or let it half finish that Legion. Just stay half finished for a while. Still better than dying. This engineer drop has been identified by the top team and is going to be taken care of by this Corsair. So unfortunately this engineer drop was way too late. Too little engineers. It's a T2 transport, so there could have been more engineers, and this could have been dropped in different spots, not just here, to actually reclaim everything and before Argon gets his hands on it. Now with this amount of mass in the bank, you can do a lot of stuff. Perhaps there's a little bit of a build power bottleneck, and these T2 engineers should probably build some hives. The hives can be used to upgrade the ACU, and then the ACU has additional build power to add to this core. And with more build power and enabling T3 from this factory, you can make T3 power and get T3 air. But I think this is really a build power problem. Nothing is happening because the build power is spread across multiple T2 factories, and the high-tech engineers, which could be scaling up the build power with hives, are in the front making Team D. So a single one could be fine, add a couple of T1 engineers and keep the others at the back making hives. Correcting build power problems is the easiest for Cybran because of the hives. All you need is a T2 engineer, so make use of it. That's a lot of Corsairs, and we have a spider here. Now Hascins realizing he needs to fight against the Corsairs. Apparently Prezzy is thinking that the Corsairs have a decent chance at competing with the fighters, but that's a misconception. Corsairs barely have any air-to-air capabilities. They're just a sluggish and weak T2 interceptor pretty much. I think their air-to-air damage is more or less the same of a T1 interceptor, but of course a T1 interceptor is way cheaper and you never have as many Corsairs as your opponent has interceptors, so using them in an air-to-air fight is a huge waste. And does this team have anything that could stop this spider? Well, maybe. So if they get more T2 air, they can take out the spider. If this dies in front of the base, then this is a nice mass donation. Now TimVol really struggling. Does he have radar? Yes, he does. So not as bad as I thought, but we still see some firebase machine complex here. There are enemy indirect fire weapons in place that already counter the PD. Yet he's building more PD. Simply didn't build enough land units and didn't build them early enough. So this is going to be destroyed really fast. The spider is attacking here now. Corsairs are responding. Spider on half HP now. Is it retreating? Is it trying to dodge? Is it farming veterancy? I can't really tell. Looks like it's retreating. Here's the veterancy. And now it's stuck on the corner. Well, that's of course horrible when that happens. Especially close to the enemy base. And not making some T3 mobile anti-air with the spider is a mistake. So we have a T3 land factory here. This is idling. Could have been producing some T3 mobile anti-air to protect the spider. The Corsairs are still going to drop a bomb, but at least they die. Now this is a considerable force. Lots of T3 mobile RT, as well as some bricks and tons of rhinos. But as the ally points out, there's no flak in the mix, and that's a problem. So we have a forward ACU position here, T3 ACU, adding some SAM, but that's probably too far at the back. Given the sheer tankiness of those units, they're still going to do some stuff though, and they at least managed to wipe TimVol's base. And now it's a 2v2 in terms of bases, but in terms of map control, I'd say the top team has like double the stuff of the bottom team. How is Hascins trying to deal with it? Well, we have this very late T3 air upgrade. Huge power stall because he's building an ASF from it. So just like last time, when you have these long power stalls, you want to address them and just build T3 engineers instead of T3 fighters for as long as this power stall is ongoing. And I think responding to the build power bottleneck first and then responding to the power bottleneck by adding hives and then power generators would have been a good way of avoiding this situation. And this T2 land factory still making T2 engineers. I suppose T2 engineers are still engineers and build power is what you need. But I really disagree with this T2 land factory. That's been slowing you down so much for the entire game. Could have just reclaimed it and put it into economy. These are still making interceptors. I would probably keep one for scouts, and the others could be switched into T1 engineers Or perhaps you could just self-destruct it, because you already have the T3 air, and T1 interceptors are not going to be super great anymore, just very expensive. Now Zhykich is trying to reclaim the spider. That's an exposed ACU position with a... Well, this is not upgraded, is it? That's a gun ACU. So that's of course going to be suicidal. And this seems to be the snipe. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. There we go. So if you want to try stuff like that, reclaim this wreckage. Don't do it with your ACU. Or if you do it with your ACU, make sure it's not an unupgraded Siren ACU, but maybe a Nano Seraphim ACU or Shield UEF ACU, something like that. Could at least survive the first pass of these bombers. Now Hascins is all by himself. It's going to be difficult, but I think there's still some ways to win it. He needs to reclaim stuff really fast. So we have one drop here. They should be reclaiming immediately, and they are. That's great. Can perhaps add some T1 land factory for faster reclaim, but there may not be time for it. The enemy is already coming. Reclaiming here is also going to be important, and this is when you want to get extra T3 power generators and start upgrading all T2 mass destructors to T3, and you would ring the ones that aren't ringed. With this amount of mass you can probably do it. Some drop over here would also be nice. You want to scout at the enemies here trying to steal your mass. And that's how you can attempt to stay in the game. But right now... Alright, well, stealth bombers could work. You don't have the greatest intel. You need to make sure you use the stealth. And you should probably get Omni when you try to use them. So you can make sure to avoid enemy Omni and enemy ASFs. But you need to hurry up with that, or this is going to fail. You don't have many ASFs, so it's very likely Hascins doesn't have air control. We can check out the others, and indeed we see many ASFs for Argon, who is also building strats. And there is a Soul Ripper going up. So the Soul Ripper is a great choice. Top team has air control. And this is going to kill Hascins, if Hascins doesn't manage to kill Argon before that. It seems like Hascins doesn't know. I suppose it's difficult to take care of intel when your team is getting killed like that. But you cannot forget about intel. This Soul Ripper has been there for several minutes and is still unscouted. By the time Hascins is going to realize it's there, it's probably going to be too late. Important not to skip T3 scouts, because you could see how most of these T1 scouts got shot down immediately, before they even arrived. Not a single one got through. We don't have coverage on the Soul Ripper. Now TimVol getting sniped by strat bombers. The commander explosion is going to kill many engineers. And of course, when you still have an ACU, you can upgrade the combat path and help defending the base. So they are taking away this opportunity by trying to snipe TimVol. Well, but you can see those strat bombers were not stealthed. Flew over some T2 tanks and they got shot down. And that's game over for Hascins. Just checking if the top team has Omni. No, they don't. But this is a well-positioned T2 radar in the center, over here. Could have been sniped. It's quite exposed. But since it wasn't, the coverage helped identify those unstealthed strats. So next time Hascins stealth those strat bombers, make sure not to fly over visual sensors and get your own intel so you can avoid these situations. Now it's just a matter of time until Hascins is going to die. The Soul Ripper should come soon. Must be on the way, and here it is. Interesting choice to destroy the walls, to enable those land units. I guess the T1 engineer job could have done the same, but none of this is actually necessary. The Soul Ripper itself is enough to kill both ACUs. No reason why these are stopping. The wall is not stopping them. You can see there's an entrance. And now they come. No, they don't. So Prezzy, when you're afraid that this formation is unable to enter, then just give a spread attack order. This is how you break this formation, and they're going to come in one by one. Looks like a strat bomber killed Hascins while we weren't looking. So very tragic game, but a lot of learning opportunities. So to summarize, oh wait, Tim was still alive. Well, Tim MVP, last man standing. Well, unfortunately not MVP. Those T1 point defenses over here have been horrible. And in the end they were taken out by T3 units quite quickly. So to summarize the learnings again, you should streamline your build if you want to go for air. Make sure you go for air and don't go for T2 land if you want to go for T3 air. Those two are mutually exclusive to a certain extent. It's a bit like upgrading tech and gun on the ACU. Even the factions that can upgrade tech and gun at the same time can only use one at the time and not both together. T3 air has a timer on it, and if you don't get it in the critical time frame, your opponent is just going to build up a production lead before you even have it. So economize on the T2 land and just get the T2 air, power generators, then the RAS or the Pigeon variant of the build, and then you get your fast T3 air. Take a look at the concept of snipe-enabled ecoing. Getting this reclaim over here would have helped you a lot to stay in this game. And whatever you do, Hascins, don't carry the piano. Thank you very much, everyone, and see you in the next replay review.